At the beginning of the movie, a man named Verger is shown, whose face was strange and his skin was completely damaged. There was a man in front of him who used to work in the refugee camp. Verger asks him, "Do you know about the Hannibal?" Because Hannibal was also kept in the asylum. The man says yes, he used to be there and he used to remain silent. He used to say nothing in front of anyone except a girl, whose name is Clarice. He used to talk a lot with her because she used to like him. That girl was in fact a detective. The man gives Verger Hannibal's mask and he says it's a unique mask. He used to wear this to the Hannibal. So Verger buys this mask for a lot of money. We see Clarice who is on a task. They have caught a girl, so Clarice stops, seeing a child with her, and she does not catch her. But a man of Clarice's team starts shooting at the woman. Seeing her, the other team members also start shooting at her. Now Clarice says to the woman, "Listen to us, so we do not shoot you." But that woman, she does not listen, and she also starts shooting at them. On it, Clarice shoots at her, and she dies. Then Clarice goes to her and picks up the child, and suddenly starts to cry that I have snatched the mother of a small child. The next day, Clarice was being called a fool in the meeting. But Clarice says, "I do not give the order. I do not ask you to shoot." Then a man comes there and says to Clarice, "I want you to meet with the Verger." In fact, Verger was Hannibal's fourth victim. Clarice had a doubt that why he has come to meet me. What does he want to tell me? So that man says to her, "Do not worry. He has information about the Hannibal, which he wants to share with you. Be easy." Then an officer is seated there who was looking at the Clarice. He says, "If someone will raise a finger on you, then it's our duty to see him." After it, Clarice leaves from there. Then she goes to Verger's house. She meets Verger there. Verger was lying on his bed. Clarice says to him, "Who do this to your face, and what did this happen?" He says, "You know that Hannibal did this to me. Fortunately, I was saved, and my past is that I used to scare the children. I used to sexually abuse them. Then one day, I invited Hannibal to my house. He fed me something intoxicating. Then he gave me a piece of glass and asked me, 'Can you remove the skin of your face?' As I was intoxicated, and I started removing the skin of my face from the glass. It was for the sake of Dr. Hannibal. But he fed my dog that piece of my skin, and since then my skin is like this. My face looks scary." He says to Clarice, "I have heard that you have some information about the Dr. Hannibal." Verger says, "Why not? Why should I call you here?" He shows her a report. It was the X-ray of Hannibal's hand. The bone of his hand was broken. Verger says to Clarice, "You have this report. Now you have to find out where Hannibal is. Actually, I want to take revenge on him. I called you here so that you may find out him, and I may take my revenge on him." After this, Clarice starts all the investigation. She comes to know that Hannibal had bitten a nurse. The nurse has tried to stop him. Due to it, his hand was broken. There was also the worker of the asylum. Clarice goes to the worker directly. Clarice asked him, "You were also there. Why didn't he tell you anything?" The man says that, "I had a good conversation with him. He had also told me that he likes you. Look, I have his voice in these tape recorders." Then Clarice listens to those tape recorders. She focuses on it. Now the scene changes. We see a police inspector in another city. He had come to a library because the old librarian had died there. He had come to investigate. He goes to the new librarian who was Dr. Hannibal. He was living there, changing his name. The police inspector says to him, "If you know anything about the old librarian, or if you find anything about him, do let me know," he says to the Dr. Hannibal. In return, Dr. Hannibal tells him, "Why not? I will tell you." In fact, that old librarian was killed by the Dr. Hannibal, but the police inspector was not aware of it. After it, Clarice begins to see the letters of Dr. Hannibal that were sent by him. In the letters, it was written that, "I am very sad that everything is blamed on you. But listen, I have again been placed in the top 10 criminals. Clarice sends those letters to the fingerprint master, who can find out fingerprints. But they do not find any fingerprints. Then she goes to the perfume masters, who can identify the smell. One of them tells him there is a fragrance of a perfume which is made from the whales. There is restriction on this perfume, but it is still sold in some countries. He begins to tell her the names of those countries and cities. They gave a list to Clarice, through which she contacts every store from where that perfume can be found. She says to them, "Give me the CCTV footage of that place." They begin to copy the video clip so they may send to the Clarice. Then the police officer who was sent in the city where Hannibal was, he was in the police station. A detective was copying the CCTV footage to send the Clarice. But when the police officer sees Hannibal in those footages, he understands what they have to do with these clips. He searches on it. He came to know that he is one of the top 10 criminals. And he will also get $30 million from Verger, who will catch him. That police officer calls a number on that website and he says, "Hannibal is with us. He is in our city." They say to him, "We need a proof. We don't have time." He goes to the library to search for the fingerprints of Dr. Hannibal. But there was nothing, as Dr. Hannibal always wears gloves in the library. Then that police officer thinks of another plan. He hires a man to steal the purse of Dr. Hannibal. But before that, he tells the thief to wear a bangle. So when he steals his purse, there may be fingerprints on him. Now that thief begins to follow Dr. Hannibal. He steals his purse and according to the plan, Hannibal holds his hand and because of it, his fingerprints came on that bangle. But after it, he kills that thief. Now the police officer comes there, he takes off his bangle and sends it to those police officers, so they may know that these are really Hannibal's fingerprints and he is telling the truth. They are very happy that Hannibal is found, and they reward that police officer. Now Verger's companions came to meet that police officer and they say that your work is done, take your money. Then that police officer says, "No, I want to find him along with you. I want to arrest him." The next day, that police officer goes to an event with his wife. There is Hannibal there. At the end of the event, when he sees the beautiful wife of the police officer, he suddenly feels the urge to eat her, because he was a cannibal who used to eat human flesh. But the police officer suddenly understood his intentions and asked his wife to leave. Then Clarice had that CCTV footage. When she sees it, she comes to know that where Hannibal is. Clarice also noted that a police officer had logged in to their website repeatedly to search for Hannibal. She suddenly understood that he had some information related to Hannibal. She calls him and says that you are working for Verger so that you may get money. But you are doing wrong because we have been trying for a long time to arrest Hannibal. He is a dangerous criminal. We should arrest him. But that police officer did not listen to her and he leaves to arrest Hannibal. But his plan is reversed. When he reached there, Hannibal catches him and also received a call from the Clarice and tells her, "I have his phone, now I am going to kill the police officer," and he kills the police officer with it. Hannibal also kills a man of the Verger and he runs from there. When Verger came to know this, he suddenly became furious and thought of a plan. He contacted that police officer who had a bad eye on Clarice. He says to him, "You will accuse Clarice and you will get her out of the job." Because Hannibal loves Clarice a lot, so he will not see her in trouble and he will definitely come there. Scene shifts. Hannibal also comes there and calls Clarice and says that come to a mall. I will also be there, and if you can catch me, then catch me. Now she goes to the mall next day. There, Verger's men are also chasing her, so they may find Hannibal. Now Clarice, she does not see Hannibal anywhere, but Verger's men see him and kidnaps Hannibal. Clarice had also seen all this, and she tells to the police. But when police goes to the Verger's house, They do not find anything there because Verger had hidden him somewhere else, where he had tied Hannibal. And he also says to him, "Now I will give you a terrible death." When Clarice does not get any help, then she thinks to do something on her own. She remembers the number of the car and she starts following it. She tracked down the car. She reached the same place where Verger and the others were present. She sees that Verger's men were going to leave many pigs on the Dr. Hannibal, who were going to eat him. She immediately shoots people of the Verger. They also fight with her. Then she falls down, getting injured. Hannibal lifts her in the arms. Then those pigs also came there, but Hannibal shows as he is dead. He stands still. Wild pigs start to eat the another dead people. Then Hannibal says to the Verger's servant, "All your life you have been stopping." And he was thrown down, and the wild pigs start eating him. Hannibal takes Clarice to the house. He treated her and giving her a drug to make her sleep. As he is preparing dinner for her, when Clarice wakes up, she was intoxicated. When she goes downstairs to see that police officers also appeared there, who used to look at her with a bad eye. She is shocked to see it, but then Hannibal cuts the head of that police officer and he makes him to eat it while cooking a part of his brain. Then he started to eat it, taking it to the kitchen. Then the sound of the police cars came there, which Hannibal had called himself. Clarice immediately puts handcuff on his hand so that he may not escape. But Hannibal says to her, "Take care of yourself," and he runs away, cutting his hand. The police also arrived there. Clarice was shocked that how Hannibal had left, but she was also happy that how much he loves her. He could have escaped cutting her hand, but he cut his hand. In the last scene of the movie, we see that Hannibal is going to another place and he is eating his food. He was sitting in the plane. He opens his lunchbox. There was the brain of the police officer. He started eating it. The child sitting beside him asks him for the brain. That give me to eat. So Hannibal also gives him a piece, and the movie ends here. Thank you for watching.